Hey guys, and welcome back to Bright Ideas. So in my last podcast, I talked about the basics of market research and covered off on some of the differences between primary and secondary research, and then further broke that down to better understand how quant and qual research work. Today, I wanted to take that a step further and go a little bit deeper into some of the specific methodologies within primary research to give you a basic overview of how they work, but also show you some ways where you can enhance your findings even further by incorporating video qualitative feedback into the process. Now, when I think of research, I find it easier to break it into a few different buckets based on what the intent of the projects are. So a simple way that I found to do this is by applying projects to one of four areas. So those are continuous research, performance tracking, strategic initiatives, and syndicated resources. So for that last one, syndicated resources, that's really your secondary research that we talked about last time, which are existing reports or data that are already available and where you didn't actually do the research. So I'm going to leave that one out of this exercise and focus on the first three, which are all related to primary research. All right, so starting with continuous research, this is exactly how it sounds. There are projects that you're doing on an ongoing basis throughout the year, some of which include showing stimulus to consumers to get their reactions. One of the more popular types of research that fall in this bucket is concept testing. So the reason to use concept testing is it's a quick and relatively affordable way to have your target audience evaluate your product or your service idea before it gets launched. This is also a great way to weed out the ideas that maybe aren't quite ready for prime time and identify the ones that may have potential. This type of testing is usually done in an online survey format where you can test multiple concepts at a time. And the types of ideas you can test range from new products to product naming, claims, packaging, you name it. Usually how it works is consumers are shown the concept stimulus, which is typically a one-pager that contains some text that explains the idea in a few sentences. So it'll have things like a short headline, the problem you're trying to solve for, what the consumer benefits are, and then the reason to believe, which is really just an explanation of why it delivers on those benefits. And the concepts can also include some pictures along with any other relevant information like price. So consumers will review each of the concepts, and then one by one, as they see them, they're asked a short battery of questions such as appeal, uniqueness compared to competition, believability, ease of understanding. And like I said, you can test a lot of concepts in one survey. So it's a great way to figure out what gets removed from further development and what gets moved forward. So a cool way to enhance your findings even further is once you have all your survey results and you've done your analysis, take a small subset of the concepts. So maybe it's a mix of some of the stronger and weaker performers and put them into a separate test to get video feedback. So if, for instance, you had a concept you feel has potential, but maybe there were some believability concerns, you can dive deeper into that with video to uncover exactly what may be holding it back. This is also a great way to enhance your presentations. So if you include some video snippets from consumers that can help bring that quant data to life, it really helps provide the whys behind those survey answers. All right, so on to the next bucket, performance tracking. So this is also known as brand tracking. This is an ongoing measurement of a company's brand health. So it measures things like brand awareness. It helps you analyze how your consumers are using or buying your products and what they think and feel about the brand itself and even your competitors. So a good tracking program can help you understand where things are going well. And more importantly, it'll flag the potential issues that you're having before it becomes a bigger problem. Brand tracking is typically done via an online survey, and it's usually administered once per month or quarter. It really depends on the purchase cycle. And then results are analyzed across multiple time periods so you can see longitudinally how your progress is measuring. There's even some companies out there that use brand tracking within their annual goals and objectives planning. So now, while brand tracking is a great tool, you'll find sometimes that certain measures from one period to the next don't really change much at all. Or you have a circumstance where you see a very big shift from one period to the next, but it's not really clear what's driving it. So again, after analyzing the quant survey results, a great way to probe in certain areas is, again, reach out to a new sample of respondents and get qualitative video feedback. So for instance, let's say in your tracking quant findings, you saw consumer perceptions of your brand being a good value for the money drop more than you would expect it over the last period. Let's say it dropped like 5 percentage points. That's a big drop. So by using video feedback, you can focus your questioning around the brand's price value relationship to determine which elements may be driving those declines. Maybe you had some recent price hikes that upset consumers, or maybe your competitor had a deep discount promotion that was going on at the same time period. Whatever the reason, you'll now have an explanation to share in your reporting that's direct from your own consumers' mouths. All right, so that's continuous tracking. The last bucket we talked about is strategic initiatives. So this can include a lot of different methodologies, things like brand equity, qualitative explorations, ethnography work. But the one that I wanted to talk about is consumer segmentation. So this is usually a fairly large project that only has to get done once every few years. And it's a way of dividing your audience into different groups of individuals who are similar in specific ways. So sometimes they're broken out by things like demographics, like age and gender, but I've always found that you get more actionable results by basing segmentation on things like attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. So typically how it works is consumers get divided into one of usually 4 to 6 segments once the analysis is done. And you'll find a few of those segments that you'll consider your key targets, where your marketing communication can be tailored to their specific needs. And then on the back end of all the analysis that's done, you'll get an algorithm, or what's called a typing tool, which is really just a short list of questions used to determine what segment the respondent falls into. So this can be included in any future research you have, so you can easily identify how respondents fall into different segments. All right, so once you've got that typing tool, you can find a sample of consumers from each of the segments you're interested in and use video to get to know them a little bit better. So what I love about video in this example is it allows you to see and hear directly from them, see the environment they live in, better understand their hobbies, what they do for work, if they have kids. The main goal here is to bring these segments to life. So not just find out about how they use your product, but who they really are. So, and this really helps when you're socializing the information to your internal stakeholders in your presentations or workshops, so they can better understand their consumers on a deeper level. So that right there is, looking at your segmentation. And then finally, the last example I had, also in strategic initiatives, is the in-home use test, so otherwise known as the iHut. So this is a cost-effective way to test a product with real consumers prior to moving forward into a full launch. Many products can be shipped directly to participants to try or use in their own homes, and this allows them to evaluate it in a natural setting in their own environment, which I think gives more realistic feedback. So it can start with a short survey where consumers answer questions like their overall satisfaction of an item, their likes and dislikes, comparison to competition, suggested improvements. And a way to incorporate video is to have consumers do an unboxing of the product and just talk about it. So talk about the packaging, talk about the taste, if it's something that's edible, have them use the product. And what I like about this is an added bonus. Since they're already in their homes, you can ask them to show you parts of their house so you can better understand how they use or consume similar products to yours. So for instance, if it's a food item, ask them to show you the inside of their fridge or their kitchen pantry. If it's a product, something related to tools or lawn equipment, ask to see their garage setup or the inside of their shed. However you do it, by incorporating this asynchronous video feedback, you're going to have a firsthand look into their world, which can help uncover insight that you would have never gotten from in strictly a quant survey. All right, so I hope this journey through different methodologies was helpful for you, and I hope you find success bringing video into your research plans going forward. And finally, for my latest life hack. So have you ever been at a restaurant or a bar and the drink that you ordered keeps getting stuck on the coaster because of the condensation on the glass? Well, usually in restaurants, they have a salt and pepper shaker at each table. So next time around, sprinkle a little salt on the coaster, and that will give you just enough of a barrier from the glass where it will not stick anymore. I promise you this works. I do it all the time. All right, guys, this has been fun. We will see you next time.